Hello everyone, welcome back to my Let's Replay channel. Once again, this is Andrew T coming at you, and welcome to my vlog review of Cryptark and of Fallout New Vegas. Now, as always, we'll start out with the first one I played, which was Cryptark, and then we'll go straight on to New Vegas. So, Cryptark I played a little bit more after I got done with the video, and I have a couple more opinions on it other than when I first started. One, the difficulty ramps up way too much in this game. I know it gives you options for where you can go and what you can do, but from one place to the next, it's not just a matter of, I'll just get some items and, some support items and I'll do better. It's like, no, your money is so low and it costs you so much money to just go out to do your missions that you hardly make any. So even if you do the little side quests that they give you, like, oh, don't use grenades, or something else, whatever the case may be, that only gives you like 30 grand, and you use that just outfitting your guy every single time. So the fact that even though I got a lot of tech and I got a lot of options, a lot of it just wasn't worth it because you go through ammo so fast in that game, and even if you have more powerful weapons and if you want to get more ammo, you have to pay for it. So you're spending, let's just say you start off at 500 grand to start the game, which was what in the tutorials we saw that. But the thing is, it costs you like 250 grand minimum if you want to spec yourself out at the minimum or at least above minimum amount to try to get through the entire stage. So you're looking at that, and then if you take too long, then you don't get a bonus on that. And if you don't use any of the side quests and get any bonuses from that, you don't get anything from that. So you spend 250 grand, let's just say, on average, to get out of your hangar to do the mission. At the beginning levels, I didn't see anything over 150 grand. So you're going into the negative just by starting the game, basically. So unless you basically have to put a handicap on yourself, like, I have to do all the side quests. Okay. I also have to do this in a certain amount of time. Also I have to conserve my ammo so I can get money back for that at the end. It's just too much thrown at you way too early in the game. Like, I didn't get past the third ship after the tutorial where I was just like, I just died. I had no desire to go back and do it again because it was just not worth it to me, even though it's a roguelike. I may have a more favorable mission this time, or maybe an easier one. It's like, no, because you have so little health, and it costs you so much to repair, well, not repair, but to rearm. It costs you 45 grand to rearm in this game, in the mission. So I just thought it was ridiculous. I'm like, alright, it had a good premise, started out pretty well, but it just ramped up way too fast. It was not balanced at all after the tutorial and the first level or two. It was just way too much to go. And I know there are certain items that you could probably get permanently if you got that far, but I had no desire to do it. I mean, it was a good premise. Everything else about it was pretty good, but the gameplay just did not hold up after that first 15 minutes. So if I had to give it a review, like I said, it's not a replay review, just a new game review for this one. So no nostalgia, no price point or anything like that for nostalgia games. It's basically, I'd have to give it a 5 out of 10. Just for the fact that the difficulty ramped up way too much. That was it. That's it. It's like going, we'll get you these little enemies, and then we'll throw twice or 3 or 4 or 5 times as many at you 2 levels from now, and then you're not making hardly enough money to equip yourself well enough to even do these missions. Plus, on the second mission, I ran into a location where it has turrets, and these turrets, out on the outside of their ships, before you even get into the ship to do your mission, they're shooting at you constantly. And because all the doors closest to me were locked red, that means I would have to stay there and unlock it and have all the turrets bullets basically hitting me constantly before I even got in the ship. So finally I got to the top of the ship, and you can't outrun the bullets. They follow you. They're self-guiding bullets that the turrets shoot at you, and they just keep shooting at you. So as long as you're within range of them, they just shoot, and shoot. So you have like 20 bullets coming after you, at any one time, and you're trying to, do tricks like make them hit the walls, but since you're going on the outside of it, it's really hard to do that, especially when the ones that are really close to you, they're going to hit you no matter what. So I had 3 energy by the time, or 3 health by the time I got on the freaking ship. So I just thought to myself, I don't want to go through that again. I don't want to start out a handicap on the 2nd level and try to go through that again just to hopefully get a better gameplay later on. It's just one of those flaws in the game. So there's that. Other than that, though, like I said, it's a decent game, but it's just everything else up to that point makes me give it a 5. Like, all the stuff up to that point saved it, but if your game is difficulty ramps up so high that it's not fun to play anymore, anything for 6 and above for a new game, I'd say, okay, it's worth buying. It may not be the best, but it's worth going out there and getting. This one, until they fix those issues with the gameplay, it's not worth buying right now. I mean, if you wanted to, if you really like it, and like a challenge, and like to just grind away and hope you get that one level that'll let you do everything you want, then, it may be for some people like that. But for the majority of people looking for an inexpensive, good time, roguelite, shooter to just play and pick up and have a good time with, it's not going to be that for most people. So that's my final verdict on that one. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. And I don't think of these beforehand. I always go through my scores right off the cusp as I'm doing these videos. So this is basically my opinion as you're getting it, as I think of it. So moving on to one of my favorite games that I'm still playing right now is Fallout New Vegas. Now, I've talked a lot about this before in the preceding weeks in the old Fallout games, and so let me just preface it this way, that this was the most, how shall I put it, loyal amalgamation of the original Fallout games that I've found so far, other than Fallout 3 when it first came out. So the game itself, the graphics have aged pretty well, especially with the mod packs and them overhauling it and giving the re-release stuff like that. So it's held up fairly well graphically wise. Story wise, it is almost incomparable. There's so much you can do. The DLC that they give you is top notch. It gives you easily 20 hours for Old World Blues, which I played. Is the only one I've played so far. Easily 20 hours of gameplay for that DLC alone. So the RPG elements are top notch. The skills, the stats that you get to upgrade every level, and then the perks you get every 2 levels are so in depth and so catered to however your gameplay likes. It is great. The dialogue options they give you, the sheer amount of dialogue options they give you, depending on what perks you have or what your intelligence is, or what factions you're familiar with. It's insane. The voice acting is very good, is top notch. Wayne Newton as your radio host for New Vegas Radio. Felicia Day. Gosh, there's so many. You can IMDb it and you'll see. Like, they brought back Michael Dorn from the second Fallout to play his super mutant role again. He doesn't have that many lines, but they still brought him back and he still did it, and he's still wonderful. So I could gush about this game and for a while, but I'm going to try to keep this short and succinct as possible, like all my other reviews, vlogs. So I'm just going to say that if I had to give this a score for replayability and nostalgia and everything on top of that, for the price, for the graphics, for the storyline, voice acting, sheer fun, gameplay, user interface, it's a 9 out of 10. It's not perfect because, one, it is older. The facial animations, although still better than I said this before, they're still better than Mass Effect Andromeda, but it is dated at this point. But all the other gameplay mechanics are right there. There are a couple glitches just because there's the sheer amount of choice it gives you. Sometimes the game doesn't quite know what to do with itself, so it doesn't have every single permutation programmed in, but there shouldn't be any game-breaking bugs in it. So I think that 9 out of 10 is definitely well worth the score on this. If you have the money and you like RPGs, you like first-person shooters, you like story, you like adult themes, you like any of those things, pick up Fallout New Vegas. It is well worth the time and money you will put into it. Plus the replayability, this is my first playthrough I've had in years of this game, and I can't stop. And this is just the good guy playthrough. Like, you could go through another 100 hours plus going through the game with a whole different set of options and choices just because you chose a different faction. So, again, great game. Pick it up if you haven't already. Other than that, that's about it. So, thank y'all so much for watching. As always, it's a great day for replay. Y'all have a good one.